Hi everyone, this is the complimentary reading for the study that we had regarding the promise of God and the meaning of Christ dying on the cross for us. This is a small part of a book written by Max Lucado, and we're only going to read the part about the promise and his perspective on the cross, the sacrifice, and what it means to each of us. I hope you enjoy it, but most of all, I hope that God speaks to your life so that you can speak to others about what it means for Christ to have died on the cross for you. Here we go. I hope you enjoy it. God's gift for you, the cross. Can you turn any direction without seeing one? Perched atop a chapel, carved into a graveyard headstone, engraved into a ring, or suspended on a chain. The cross is the universal symbol of Christianity. An odd choice, don't you think? Strange that a tool of torture would come to embody a movement of hope. The symbol of other faiths are more upbeat: the six-pointed star of Jerusalem, the crescent moon of Islam, a lotus blossom for Buddhism, yet a cross for Christianity? An instrument of execution? Would you wear a tiny electrical chair around your neck? Suspend a gold-plated hangman's noose on your living room wall? Would you print a picture of a firing squad on a business card? Yet we do so with the cross. Many even make the sign of a cross as they pray. Would we make the sign of, say, a guillotine? Instead of the triangular touch on the forehead and shoulders, how about a karate chop on the palm? Doesn't quite have the same feel, does it? Why is the cross the symbol of our faith? To find the answer, look no further than the cross itself. Its design couldn't be simpler. One being horizontal, the other vertical. One reaches out like God's love. The other reaches up, as does God's holiness. One represents the width of his love, and the other reflects the height of his holiness. The cross is the intersection of both. The cross is where God forgave his children without lowering his standard. How could he do this? In one sentence: God put our sin on his Son and punished it there. God put on him the wrong who never did anything wrong, so we could be put right with God. This is 2 Corinthians 5:21. Or, as another version reads, Christ never sinned, but God treated him as a sinner so that Christ could make us acceptable to God. Again, 2 Corinthians 5:21. Envision this moment. God on his throne, you on the earth, and between you and God, suspended between you and heaven, is Christ on his cross. Your sins have been placed on Jesus. God, who punishes sin, releases his rightful wrath on your mistakes. Jesus receives the blow. Since Christ is between you and God, we don't receive the blow of just punishment. The sin is punished, but we are safe. Safe in the shadow of the cross. This is what God did, but why? Why would he do it? Moral duty, heavenly obligation, paternal requirement. No, God is required to do nothing. Besides, consider what he did. He gave his Son, his only Son. Would you do that? Would you offer the life of your child for someone else? I wouldn't. And I'm saying that personally. I would never. I don't think I have the ability to even think about it. There are those for whom I would give my life, but ask me to make a list of those for whom I would kill my daughter. The sheet will be blank. I don't need a pencil. The list has no names. But God's list contains the name of every person who ever lived. For this is the scope of his love, and this is the reason for the cross. He loves the world. He loved all of us. John 3:16 said, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son." As boldly as the center beam proclaims God's holiness, the cross beam declares his love. And oh, how wide his love reaches. Aren't you glad the verse doesn't read, "For God so loved the rich," "For God so loved the famous," or "For God so loved the thin"? It doesn't. Nor does it state, "For God so loved the Europeans or Africans or Mexicans or Danish or any other culture that we can think of." It doesn't say the sober or the successful, the young or the old. No. When we read John 3:16, we simply and happily read, "For God so loved the world." Forgive me. How wide is God's love? Wide enough for the whole world. Are you included in the world? Yeah, we all are. Then you are included in God's love. It's nice to be included. We aren't always. Universities exclude you if you aren't smart enough. Businesses exclude you if you aren't qualified enough. And sadly, some churches exclude you if you aren't good enough. But though they may exclude you, Christ includes you. When asked to describe the width of his love, he stretched one hand to the right and the other to the left and had them nailed in that position so you would know he died loving you. And that, my dears, is the promise and the gift of a sacrifice that Jesus Christ did with each of us on his mind. All right, guys. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed it. But most of all, I hope that the Spirit spoke to your heart and that we never forget what it meant for Christ to die upon that cross for us.